when they kind of told us, hey, we're doing something for the Super Bowl, my mind kind of went, I know these commercials are $8 million to produce for us to just, our little small business, just to get a little spot and highlight during it. Yeah, man, it was a blessing for our business. We got a great uptick in reservations and awareness.
This is the best opportunity when all the eyeballs in the world are watching. How did you get there?
Thanks for tuning into America's Healthiest City. I'm your host, Will Melton, and today I'm in historic Jackson Ward. We're here to talk to Lance Lemon, wine purveyor, ad man, actor, a man of many talents, and someone influencing the culture here in Jackson Ward. If you're tuning into America's Healthiest City for the very first time, this is a 10-year community partnership to make all of Richmond the healthiest in America by 2033. We do this by telling the stories of folks who are inspiring Richmond to become healthier, people who are creating community like Lance, and many others. So in today's episode, I brought along Mike King to conduct part of this interview, and I'm super excited to have you on this new episode of America's Healthiest City in the streets as a part of Channel RVA, a new media umbrella here in Richmond. So join me, let's dive in. So we're here in Jackson Ward,
Yep.
Your business home, special place, and a lot of history here. I met you, I guess, about 2 years ago, I guess, when you opened up Penny's.
How long has it been?
How long has it been since
you
opened up Penny's?
Penny's been open 2 years.
Okay, so I met you 2 years ago. I'd already known Kelly, and I honestly think somebody referred you to the show, but it wasn't, I don't think it was her. So you're obviously well known in the community.
Yep.
You're a lot of personality, a lot of energy, and I'm curious, where does that come from? Because not everybody's got it. Not everybody is gregarious and ready to talk to everybody. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing and how you became what I would call a public person.
Yeah, I mean, look, thank you. That's like, let me first say thank you. I don't get to say that enough. And like, I grew up in Mechanicsville, so I grew up outside the city, but I spent a lot of my summers in Richmond because my sister, she worked for VCU. Man, I kind of got this really good balance of country black kid from a white neighborhood, but also like this city kind of upbringing, you know what I mean? And I think my life as on the stage and as, kind of growing up as a thespian and, really being into theater, into the arts, and it kind of allowed me to just feel comfortable with myself, Will, you know what I mean? And be raised around a lot of different types of people. And I hate the word code switching, but like a chameleon, man. Like I can really feel like I can put myself into like so many different places and so many different shoes and and be a nice person. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's something I just pride myself on, is just being nice to other people, man. It's in the world we live in, it's tough, but yeah, man, that's kind of like, that's put me in great places and put me in a great position to kind of be who I am, I guess, and I'm still learning who I am every day, Well,
there's, I hear people talk about the performance of being, and we're always kind of having to perform for other folks, be the person that they expect us to be and everything. And so you kind of have that formal training around, acting. Would you say that changed things for you? Did you become, sort of a bigger personality after that? Or would you say that you kind of were born with a big personality and just learned how to fine tune it?
Yeah, no, I definitely was born with a big personality, and it's something that I've had to fine tune. One of my biggest acting coaches, Richard Warner, I love him to death. And he always told me in college, and this is something I learned in college, he was like, every play I did, he was like, Lance, I want you to go big and always go big, because we can always tone you back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's something that I've kind of like learned throughout my kind of just life, was be expressive, have a big personality. And of course, as I've gotten older, I've learned to just tone that back and present that when it's needed to be presented. You know what I mean? Whether that's hosting something, emceeing something, look, running my restaurant, being at the bar, you know what I mean? Like, I work at Penny's, you know what I mean? Like, don't get it twisted. I work the floor, and so it's easy for me to kind of know when to have a personality and when to not have a personality. It takes a toll on me sometimes, I got 2 kids now, man. And like, sometimes I get a little tired of just being Mr. Personality or Mr. Nice Guy, and that's something I'm doing in 2025 a little bit more, is, maturing with respect, but also understanding that, you can still have big personality, have fun, but also, I'm a 36-year-old man. You know what I mean? Like, we're grown men now.
You're doing a lot for 36. I like young people that are ambitious.
Yeah.
So we're here at Maggie Walker statue in Jackson Ward, and you shared something with me a little bit ago that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Go ahead and repeat that for our audience here, and tell us a little bit about the significance of the statue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so this is Maggie Walker. Maggie was one of the first female of any color to open her own financial institution in the United States. And it was actually right here in Richmond, Virginia, in Jackson Ward. And so we named Penny's literally after her first bank, which was called St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. And for some reason, it just kind of resonated with me. When I knew that, I was like, oh, Penny's is a great name. And then it kind of formulated into, why Penny's? And it was like, investing our money back into the neighborhood, investing our pennies, which we don't have a lot of money of, are investing our pennies into the neighborhood to really try to enrich in something and make value of a neighborhood that, like I said earlier, needs a little bit of love. Yeah.
Well, this is the place that we all go for First Fridays
Yep.
to experience the arts in the community. How has that been as far as impacting your business or just your
Absolutely.
life? I mean, is there community that really emerges from that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and I'll be honest, Will, like yes and no. I think a big part for me right now is to see Jackson Ward flourish. I tell everybody right now, like, what can I do for you? I'm like, if you're looking to do something or hold an event, hold a pop up, open a business, like Jackson Ward, and I'm also like we're on Broad Street right now. I remember, and I don't know if you remember as well too, like old First Fridays, man. Broad Street used to be crazy. I mean, like back in the day, like you could walk down Broad Street, go to all the galleries, hop off into Jackson Ward and go see more galleries. So it's always been a goal for me and a mission. And I'll say like a mission to be, not a mission, a statement that I think Broad Street has to get alive again. Broad Street has to get active. It's the heart of the city. And then I think you'll see Jackson Ward get active again as well too. Yeah, man, I love this city. I really do. I lived in New York for a while. I know that's like my second home, and I watch what they do in like their little small pockets, and I'm like, there's no reason Richmond can't be back on the map and get to going again.
So, beyond just Jackson Ward, all of Richmond, you're obviously a passionate person. You've taken the step to get even more involved in the community through the enterprises. You're working with Kelly Till over there.
Yeah, so
how long has that been? And tell us a little bit about how that's working for you.
Yeah, I've been with Lee Enterprises. We are the parent company to Richmond Times-Dispatch now. And I've been with them for about a year and a half. And I got to be honest with you, Kelly Till is a mover and shaker, the first president of the Richmond Times-Dispatch, first female president of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. And I've loved her soul, if I'm being honest with you. There was always conversation about how can we work together? What kind of position could I see myself fitting in at Lee Enterprises with Richmond Times-Dispatch? And when the opportunity presented itself for a new business development specialist, dealing with events, kind of tapping into the Virginia video network scene, I knew that being part of Richmond Times-Dispatch would allow me to be part of the community in a much bigger way than just opening a restaurant in Jackson Ward. And I think that's become it's become important to me because now I'm getting to spread my wings in a different way than just being a Kelly's little brother or a personal figure around like a personal entertainer or, MC around Richmond. It's allowing me to really meet people that are in different industries like yourself, meet different business owners, meet different movers and shakers in the city, and allow me to like really put my footprint on the city in a different way. And it's something that I didn't necessarily recognize until I got to working with Richmond Times-Dispatch and the Enterprises, which is, it's really awesome, man. I mean, we're the paper, but we're so much more than the paper. We're a full digital advertising agency. We're in 72 markets. We're in 12 markets just across the state. So Fredericksburg, Roanoke, Charlottesville, all the way out to the western side. The only place that we really don't tap into is the Virginia Beach area. So it's allowing me to kind of really put my stance on being a Virginia kid and a Virginia born and raised person.
Well, I want to talk more about Penny's. So why don't we take a walk back to the restaurant?
Yeah, let's do it.
And we're going to meet a special friend of mine.
Yeah.
If you want to own the internet in your domain on search and in AI search, you need the team that wrote the playbook on how to land on top. At Exponent 21, we help businesses dominate search rankings, drive traffic, and convert visitors into loyal customers. In the world of AI, it pays to be number one. You are number one. make sure the world knows it. Go to exponent21.com and get a free multi-page SEO report when you mention America's Healthiest City.
So I'm really enjoying this conversation,
Yeah,
Lance,
man.
but I know you're a super successful businessman, so I brought Mike King with me so that we can actually chat about business.
Let's talk business.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike King, the voice of RVA Business here at Penny's Wine Shop with my man Lance Lemon. We're also here with Channel RVA. That's who I rock with, my man Will Melton. Alrighty, so Lance, I always say to people, welcome.
Yeah.
I can't say welcome, this is your place.
Yeah, well, welcome to Penny's. Man.
Well, welcome to Penny's. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Lance Lemon. I am I got a couple shoes.
You wear a bunch of hats.
I wear a bunch of hats. Let me start off with, we're in my space. So I am the co-owner of Penny's Wine Shop in Jackson Ward. I am also a member of Lee Enterprises. I work for Lee Enterprises. We are the parent company to Richmond Times-Dispatch. I do new business development for Richmond Times-Dispatch, and I also work with our Virginia Video Network team at Lee Enterprises. And then the passion, Mike, about what I really do in life. I was a childhood actor. I do film and TV. My manager's in New York, my agent's in LA. I am still thriving for my big break in the world of acting and film and TV.
So what you do is you're a Renaissance man. You are what you are.
Yeah, I am what I am. Yeah.
But you understand, when did you understand you were good at this business thing? Because something big happened.
Yeah.
Something big happened for you a week or so ago.
Yeah.
But something big happened for me as well.
Okay. Yeah.
During that same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me when you knew you were good at business.
I mean, look, I wouldn't even sit here and say I think business is always a learning process, and I think I knew I would be good at business once I realized that it was tough for me to really conquer the life of a 9-to-5. And even though I do have a day job now, I knew that I always wanted to kind of make a lane for myself because of my career that I had in film and TV. My job life has always been either bartending or serving, working in hospitality or sorts of that. And I knew that business comes with being a people person. I'm a people person, and so I love people. I love being around community, and I knew that was part of it as well too. I still, again, don't know if I'm good at business. I know that I'm learning every day, and I think that's a big part of being an entrepreneur.
Do you come from people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So besides you and your sister,
Right.
you guys got a long line of people.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's a people person.
Oh,
man.
he is one of them.
Yeah, he one of them,
Okay.
man. And my dad used to flip houses, man. He used to be high up in McDonald's for a while. He used to flip houses in the Richmond area. And so I've kind of always, and my parents, man, they used to own a shoe shop back in the day. I've kind of come from this entrepreneur kind of family and making their way. But my dad, man, he's a gift of the gab, bro. He'll talk to anybody and have a great conversation. So yeah.
So that is it. Alrighty. So we're touching on. So Will Melton gave me 8 minutes.
Go ahead. We got 8 minutes.
Yeah, no, we don't have 8 minutes anymore.
We have 5. We
go a strong 5.
Yeah.
So something big happened on with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Before I get to your thing, I just gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm from Philadelphia.
No, man.
Something big happened.
Yo, so that's what you was talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm a huge Commanders fan, so I'm gonna let you live today. Y'all got y'all second round.
We did, but you know what? It was all love. So I'm watching the game, and I see Penny Wine Shop there.
Yeah.
Talk about the relationship. How do you go? So I talked to Dave Saunders from Madison and Maine.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Gary Vee. They said that is the best opportunity when all the eyeballs in the world are watching one thing at one time. How did you get there?
Yeah, I mean, we established a relationship with Google a while ago, kind of like they were doing a spotlight on small businesses in Virginia and small businesses around the country. And so, like I was telling Will earlier, we kind of established a great relationship with Google, and their Gemini team and their Google Workspace team kind of reached out to us to kind of see how we were utilizing AI for some of our workflow, and whether that was our newsletter, some of the emails that we have to write, just kind of like making things easier. Long story short, they highlighted 50 small businesses in 50 states. So our commercial was shown all throughout Virginia, the DC, Maryland region, for the local small business that was highlighted. Man, look, it was a blessing. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know what would come out of it when they kind of told us, hey, we're doing something for the Super Bowl. But my mind would kind of went, oh, wow, that's great. Like I know these commercials are $8 million to produce and for us to just, our little small business, just to get a little spot and highlight during it. Yeah, man, it was a blessing for our business. We got a great uptick in reservations and awareness. Man, it was awesome.
One of the things that Dave Saunders had talked to me about was it's $8 million to fill that hole.
Yeah.
What it costs for production for the commercial takes it to maybe $18-20 million.
I can only imagine. And look, I don't have that money. Look, I'll be honest with you. So that just to be able to have that opportunity, and for Google and Gemini to kind of give us that platform and be on the biggest stage during the biggest game of the year, it was amazing.
Talk about what the partnership does, being in the right room at the right time, talking to the right people.
Yeah, man. Look, I think 2 Chainz said it best, man. It's grinding, man. Grinding and timing. You know what I mean? Like you really are grinding all the time, and you are really looking for the right opportunity to be at the right place at the right time. And if you continue to grind, you're just going to be in those places. To be in the room in the right place at the right time is everything, man. I literally live off that. And the weird thing is, like, I'm always in a certain situation. There's always a reason that you're in a situation, right? Whether that you believe in higher powers or you have a religious kind of base, whatever. But I go places sometimes and I'm like, why am I here? And then I always usually find the meaning of why I'm somewhere, right? Or why I'm tied to this certain event, or why I'm at like this lunch, or why I'm meeting with these people. And it's always that one thing that I take away from something in everything that I'm doing, that it leads me to another conversation, it leads me to another relationship, it leads me to another opportunity. So I really try to look for that in like everything I do.
What is it with the Lemons and Jackson Ward?
Yeah, I mean, look, home of Jackson Ward, Harlem of the South, Black Wall Street. Look, the ancestors are calling us here for a reason. And I believe that my goal and my purpose to be in Jackson Ward is to kind of breathe fresh air into a community that I think is underserved at the moment, and overlooked compared to Carytown, compared to Churchill, compared to your other neighborhoods that are really flourishing right now. And I see that there is a need for business here. I used to bartend over at Mama J's in 2011, bro. I remember what Jackson Ward looked like 10, 12 years ago. You know what I mean? And now to be over here watching my sister grow her coffee shop over on 3rd and Broad, formerly big friends and big family with Mama J's, and now to be over here in Jackson Ward with my own business, it means a lot. And I think it's an opportunity for us to put Black people in a space of comfort, and also introduce Richmond to a community that was, a really high in the Black community and Black culture.
One of the things, I don't know, I think we met around 2015, 16.
Yeah.
And I got to give a shout out to your sister.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I
Absolutely.
thank you very much. When she gave me her time, and she doesn't realize what it meant to me when people just take their time to help you get to where you are.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kelly Lemon.
Yeah.
And it's a tribe that she has around her. So it's Mike King, Penny's Wine Shop. Here I'm with Mike King Biz Radio, channel RVA. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now take care.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
When we asked ourselves, what could we do to stop the tide of plastic bottled water, we never thought we'd start a water brand. But an idea grew and Richmond Water was born. Now we're replacing single-use plastic on the shelf with collectible, refillable aluminum bottles of water. And we're installing refill stations throughout RVA, launching a movement to refill. It's your turn to make a splash. Find your bottle of Richmond Water or add refill stations to your next event at drinkrichmondwater.com.
That's kind of cool.
Well, I'm really grateful that you sat down with us, because folks like you are inspiring, and you're showing folks that it's okay to do things.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a little bit of anxiety associated with doing big things,
Absolutely.
but that gets us going. So what I want to talk about now is the future of Richmond, because you've obviously been invested here in the community, and you've got interests to see Richmond be a stronger, healthier, better place. You've got young kids as well. So when you think about the future of Richmond, what do you see? How do you see us becoming a healthier place, a more vibrant place?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Richmond, I see opportunity, and just continued growth. As in terms of us becoming like a more healthier, and just it's to me, it's all about connection, right? I think that there's so many ways that everybody is now just trying to communicate with each other and literally lend a helping hand. And to me, that brings health. You know what I mean? In a sense, there's so much opportunity for not only businesses to collaborate, but also just people in general, just to kind of be better people about collaborating and really like trying to lend a helping hand. And I got to say this in like the restaurant industry, you see that all the time, like whether that's a simple Instagram post to welcome a new restaurant in town, or, especially in the neighborhoods that have like newer establishments kind of coming around them. Like, hey, we're excited to have so-and-so, opening down the street, like go check them out. You know what I mean? Or, I hope that answers the question, Will, like in a little bit of
Well,
like
no,
a
I
sense,
actually think
you know
that
what I
what
mean?
you're
Like,
hitting on is incredibly important.
yeah,
I think that you can talk about the pandemic, you can talk about social media. There have been things that have gotten in the way of us having community.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like I'm noticing that, and not noticing that it's that things have gotten in the way, but one of the biggest things for Penny is the community. Penny's is the community that like walks through that door. We have people that come in on a regular basis. We have people that kind of come back and know that they can trust us because we are part of the community. And it's not unfortunate, but Richmond's not that big, and so it's not like we have boroughs like New York where it's like, I'm part of this borough, whatever. Like Richmond is, it's like it's one central location, and like everyone knows each other. Everyone has like passed by each other in some kind of way. Everyone has been to somebody's establishment. And we have to like continue to build that community for Richmond. And then another thing is that we have to be cognizant that people are moving to Richmond. And this may sound a little bad, whatever you want to call it, but like, the people that are moving to Richmond, we have to let them know that this is the way Richmond rolls. You know what I mean? Like as much as you want to change it right now in Richmond, there are a lot of things that people that have been here forever that have been trying to change the way that Richmond kind of goes about its way, or, a foodie town, or, just so many things that like has been in the back pockets of people that have been here for a very long time. And so, yeah, that's just my little 2 cents. I might get in trouble for that.
No, I don't think so. I'm a come here, as you would call it. I'm here in 2017.
Okay.
And I laid low for a few years. I was busy with the business growing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I did Leadership Metro Richmond that I kind of got tuned into a lot of the problems and the false starts and the false promises, unmet promises, letdowns, all of that. So you can kind of understand how people might develop this system of belief that, well, Richmond can't get the things, can't get the good things. And I think that was frustrating to me, because being somebody who is, I would say, progressive in the sense that I like to see change. I think that you get stuck in the way things are, and it's not good for anybody. But I also recognize that without that context, you're never going to change Richmond.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right, man. There's a lot of false starts. That's a great way to put it. It's just like so many false starts. I remember, I think it was like 2011, 2012, right when I graduated UVA and I came back home. I mean, Richmond we were booming. It was booming. Like you could feel it. Like, and I moved away 2014, and every time I would come back home, like it was you saw the restaurants popping up. You saw like new businesses opening. You saw kind of just like hipper parts of town kind of starting to really establish themselves, besides like downtown Cary Street, Carytown, which always been there. But you saw like the Churchills popping up. You saw like North Side starting to kind of take shape a little bit. South Side, was starting to really start to take shape a little bit as well too. And then pandemic, man, it really did something real weird to Richmond, like, and then it finally kind of felt like this restart over again. And now I think in year 2025, 4 years away from the pandemic, now we're starting to get back on track of like a really cool city that I think people are super excited about being part of.
Well, I know that, and this number is probably old, but something like $10 billion in the development pipeline for construction in the region.
Yeah.
We're going to have jobs and opportunity and
That's
more
so good to hear.
entertainment.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. They say like the more cranes you see up in your city, the more business, you're right. And I'm starting to see a lot of cranes moving around Richmond.
I actually live over by Maggie Walker High School, and I can stand on my rooftop and look at 360 around the city and see all of those cranes. And it's, and now I think I can see the top of the CoStar building.
Nice.
As well, as they just topped that off.
Yeah,
couple weeks ago.
that's what's up, man. That's good stuff. Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that money. You know more about me with that, but yeah, the money's got to go into Richmond. It's got to go into Richmond and the surrounding areas around Richmond. You're starting to see, like I said, a lot of people are moving across the water over to South Side, North Side. You know, it's had its fair share of rumble and hardships, but you're starting to watch North Side become a place of just family homes and the what's that? Not the Boulevard, the North Side, Brooklyn Park Boulevard becoming starting to take shape with businesses. And I mean, at one point in time there was nothing over there. So.
That's my old neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a great. I love it. In fact, to be honest, I looked at open Penny's wine shop over there before I kind of fell back into Jackson Ward again because I was like, I love Northside.
Well, you may not be prepared for this, but I ask all my guests to tell me: is there somebody out there in Richmond that you admire? Somebody you think we ought to interview in a future episode of America's Healthiest City?
Oh gosh, oh man, there's so many people. Man, that's tough, and I know I should have probably been prepared for that.
Well, that's okay. I'll give you a different question while you think about it. If you had to give advice to our listeners about one thing that they could take up to improve their health or the health of the community, what would be something you'd encourage people to try on?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely encourage kind of going back to the community aspect of it. Visit a place that you've just never visited before. Go in. Try something new, whether that's a food establishment, whether that's just, they sell clothes, whatever their business is. Go in and really try to explore something new. It could be something big, it could be something small. Introduce yourself, get to know people. I know that sounds cliche, but like just get to know people and really try to ingrain yourself in the community the best you can. Because like that's what builds Richmond. You know what I mean? It's great to have just relationships with people that you never thought you would have, like you and I sit together right now. You know what I mean? And like we're on a board together. Like you know what I mean? Like we knew each other before. We were like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Like you start to connect the dots, and it starts to help build the overall ethos of like what I believe like Richmond is just like this very like humbled, thriving, grinding. Special community where you can say, yeah, I know that person, or I know X, Y, and Z, and then like connect the dots of like, okay, how can we work together to make Richmond better?
Well, I think that's sound advice and advice that I could take because I often frequent some of the same places.
No, me too, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying don't do it, but it's something I'm trying to do more of. It's something I'm trying to do more of and meet new people. And that also is easy for me too because new people come into Penny's all the time.
Yes.
So like I have an establishment where new people come to. And that's a blessing for me. But I will say that a lot of the new people that come to me, like they don't know about Penny's or they don't know about Jackson Ward. Like I've never been over here. I'm like, well, come on in. You know what I mean? Like go walk down the street, explore some of the art galleries, take a trip down Broad Street. Like it's here. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I've really appreciated this interview, and I want to make sure that for folks who don't know Penny's or where it is, tell them where they can find you online and where you're at.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're at 405 Brook Road, or right across the street from Gallery 5. You can find us online at Penny's RVA and then pennysrva.com. My own personal is Lance Lemon. That's my Instagram. I got to shout out my own personal Instagram. Big shout out to Lee Enterprises. You can follow them on Instagram at Lee Enterprises VA or Lee VA. That's it.
Well, Richmond's fortunate to have you.
No, I appreciate it
as a leader, and thank you for sitting with us.
You too, Will. I appreciate it. You the man.